In this video, I want to talk about Tesla stock and where I see it heading. I'll talk about 2021 price targets and then share my updated rough math for my 2030 price target for Tesla. S&P 500 inclusion. But first, I want to talk about the S&P 500 inclusion. It finally happened and is official as of December 21st. And while the chart for Tesla stock looks absolutely crazy right now, I want to say that I don't think we'll have a sell-off of more than 20% or anything even close to that. Tesla's inclusion was a catalyst for the stock price itself, not just market sentiment. And the forced buying happened and will continue to happen as funds continue to buy in at the respective prices. What I'm saying is that there would have to be some serious profit taking here to send the stock lower, especially in the next few weeks as the funds keep buying up the shares that they are required to own as they track the S&P. At least that's just my read on where we are. I'm not going to try and predict when Tesla will dip a little, but when it happens, I don't think it will be substantial because there is so much great news coming for Tesla. 2021 price predictions. Announcing record Q4 production and deliveries right after we ring in the new year, and then Q4 earnings to start 2021 will certainly be a great look for the company. If Tesla does hit their goal of 500,000 cars produced, that doesn't necessarily mean it will push the stock higher, since that may already be factored into this higher stock price. Regardless, a strong Q1 and Q2 should set up nicely for a steady stock rise and continual all-time highs throughout next year, hopefully as the world returns to normal. I predict Tesla will become a $1 trillion company next year in 2021. Now, it's definitely not a sure thing, but as the new factories ramp production, the general growth accelerates, and Tesla pushes its latest FSD build to the fleet as a whole, I think TSLA going from $700 to $1,000 and above is more likely than not. And in terms of trying to wrap your head around where the stock will end up next year, you must think farther out than that, as I will do shortly, so that you can discount to a present value. For instance, I think Tesla will be a $3 to $5 trillion company by 2025 and scale up to a $8 to $10 trillion company by 2030. And I'll explain why shortly, but it mainly has to do with the robo-taxi opportunity that Tesla has and will swiftly take advantage of. So going by my numbers, and I'm sure you'll have your own, the only way to get there experimentally is with consistent double-digit compound growth. There's really no other way to get there. I believe Tesla will become the most valuable company in the world by a large margin eventually, meaning trillions in value because of countless reasons. But that can only happen over time and absolutely not overnight. Therefore, the point I'm trying to make is that I believe Tesla will keep rising in a very methodical way over the coming years as their grand vision becomes a reality. Now, you may think Tesla is overvalued in today's stock price and value, but why? Do you disagree with the robo-taxi opportunity? Do you not believe in Tesla's growth rate, their ability to decrease costs whilst increasing production of solar, cars, batteries, and all of those components? That's fine. You'll just have to live with those answers, and I'll have to live with myself still buying Tesla at a $600 billion market cap today because I strongly believe it is the right call. I just hate when people say that TSLA is overvalued and then don't give a real reason. Why do you think that? Because the stock went up? Well, while the stock was going up over the last 6 months, Tesla was revolutionizing battery technology, beating pre-pandemic numbers, and stacking up tens of billions in cash, all of which indicate that Tesla will be able to execute way better than I and many others could have predicted. So to wrap up that little rant, I just want to say that I think Tesla will hit the $1 trillion milestone in mid to late 2021. If you don't agree with me, let me know in the comments. Updated 2030 predictions. Everything I'm about to show you is as hypothetical and unscientific as it gets, but it's something I'm fairly confident in and will be using as a guide while I choose where to invest for the long term. So I'll go ahead and walk through this with you. Over the past summer, I went through a thought exercise and created this diagram on the screen, but I feel completely different now seeing the recent autonomous progress and the FSD videos. After all, I believe autonomy is key to tens of trillions of dollars in value. Even if it doesn't pan out, which would be betting against Elon's ability to execute. I still think the rest will fall into place, and Tesla still should be a multi-trillion-dollar company regardless. So here's my model. So I think the best place to start is probably with my little chart here for ARK Invest and their probabilities for Tesla's stock by the year 2025. So going by what they had, ARK Invest had Tesla at a median value of $7,000 by the year 2025. That was pre-split. So I divided that by 5 to get the post-split number. And the reason I'm using this as my bear case and not my base case is because I think there is no way that Tesla is worth less than $1 trillion in value by the year 2025. 5 years out, I think at least Tesla will be about $1.5 trillion. And if you would disagree with that, this is where you can diverge from my back of the napkin math model. But I give that a 25%, a little bit of a conservative 25% probability of this bear case projection, which would be $1,400. And then moving on to my base case, this was ARK's $15,000 target, adjusted down to $3,000 for a post-split price, and this was their model for Tesla should they be able to get everything except for autonomy to work. They're able to ramp the factories, they're able to produce more batteries than there's ever been produced before, and they just keep innovating on the software and technology sides, but they can't solve for autonomy. That's pretty much my expected value. I think Tesla will be $3 trillion by 2025 in a base case probability. And that's just them continuing on the path they are on, but no robo-taxis. Sure, they can sell the autonomous software that they already have as an option in the cars, which boosts the margins, but this is not factoring in millions of robo-taxis on the road operated by Tesla, making billions and trillions in value. But then if we move on to the bull case, this was ARK Invest's $22,000 target, adjusted down to $4,400, and this is the golden goose scenario. If they are able to solve for full self-driving and they get everything going by the year 2025, they could be a $4 trillion stock by ARK's estimations, based on how much that would actually generate for the company. And I'd assign that a 25% probability. I think when Elon Musk says he's going to get something done, he will, to the best of his ability. FSD, the real version, the level 5 version, has definitely taken longer than he was expecting. But he's an optimistic guy, and he was hoping that they would be able to pull it out of the bag so much sooner. But they're making incredible progress, and the reason I'm giving this a 25% chance is because I've seen them turn the corner and really go from what was in the cars last year, perfectly fine software, really impressive and innovative on its own, but to go from that to be able to handle pretty much any road with few interventions, city streets, highways, intersections, traffic lights, stop signs. I mean, what they were able to do is incredible, and Tesla's been holding that close to their chest. And I think Elon's continued optimistic comments on this front is really indicative of Tesla's ability to close the last few percentage points that they are missing on this software and the neural networks, and to be able to solve for that complete autonomy to a rate that is safe enough to deploy on the roads. Basically, 25% probability Tesla's a $1 trillion company, or at least $1 trillion by 2025, and 50% probability $3 trillion company as a base case for 2025, and then the bull case being $4,400. So that all factors out to about $3 trillion of market value. Just, of course, very rough back in the napkin math. There is a fair probability that Tesla will become a $3 trillion company by the year 2025. And basically what happens is if you estimate out 30% annualized return, you get to approximately $3 trillion by 2025. This is what I was talking about earlier. Steady, constant growth just keeps happening. And so I wanted to see what percentage would get me to about $3 trillion by the year 2025 so that I could expand that forward. So if you do take the 30% and you keep going with it, you get $10 trillion by the year 2030. And I know there are probably so many people that hate me for not showing numbers behind this, but I think you really can get lost in the numbers if you try and say, this is how many cars they're going to produce, this is the margin on these cars, this is the software attachment rate, and just all of that. I just think if Tesla keeps growing the way they're growing, and you factor in autonomy, you get trillions of dollars in value. I'll link to ARK Invest's research on this. I read through their whole paper on how autonomy is going to change the way that transportation works in the world today, and I think it's such a great read. read. I don't want to like read through it in this video because it's not worth your time. You can go and do that on your own. But if you have no idea where these numbers are coming from, how they're going to be able to compound so much, it's because their fleet of cars expanding exponentially because of the compound growth will just be able to unlock so much value once they're able to solve for autonomy, which I didn't really say it very well, but in 2025, the base case is that they haven't yet solved it. I said that, and the bull case is that they have. But I think if you give it a little more time, you get the $3 trillion in value, which is the base case. But I think you give them a little more time, and then in the following 5 years, they're able to solve it maybe by 2026, 2027, 2028. But they already have so many cars on the road that they're able to flip the switch, as Elon says. I think we can all agree that Tesla will eventually, whether it's 5, probably say that Tesla will eventually be able to solve autonomy. I think it could be in the next few years, given their rate of growth. But regardless, my point is their fleet is going to keep expanding. So whenever they're able to flip the switch, I think they'll already have such a large base of capable autonomous vehicles that the best way to model it without knowing when autonomy will be coming, and this is something nobody really knows, is just to do it in a gradual way. So if we've got $3 trillion in 2025, $10 trillion may look ridiculous without robo-taxis, but even without them, Tesla is going to be the largest energy provider in the world. Solar, they may get into wind, they're going to do boats and planes and just everything. Cars, it's just such a small piece of the puzzle when you look at the bigger picture. There's just so much opportunity for Tesla, and I think 30% compound annual growth rate is not that crazy when you think about it, but it does deliver some pretty insane numbers. 2020 just taking off, and I hope that gives you a visual representation. Again, I know many of you are going to disagree with these numbers, but then go and model it, do your own numbers, go more in depth than I have, but I hope you come to a understanding that you are happy with. And mine is that Tesla is not slowing down. They're only going to keep going, and the stock price probably is never going to cool off for more than maybe 6 months or so at a time. And then I'll keep track of my targets. So for instance, my target for 2030 as of December 20th is $10 trillion, and then I'll update it over time. We'll be able to see, and I'll share this on the channel as my estimates change. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, just a little look into what I am thinking about Tesla and how I believe they'll become a $1 trillion company, a title that very few companies, only the best and the highest quality in the world, are able to claim, and Tesla will be soon, in my opinion, among the ranks with them. And then looking beyond the next decade, I think Tesla stock is just getting started from this point. So drop a like if this was helpful for you, and I'll catch you in the next video.